No one could hold back their tears when witnessing this moment. Dakota Johnson, Jamie Dornan's co-star and best friend for more than a decade, completely collapsed when she received news of the horrific accident that sent the 50 Shades of Grey actor to the emergency room. According to witnesses, Dakota could not believe her ears when she heard that Jamie had an accident on the way to the set. She immediately left all her schedules and took the earliest flight to be at the hospital. When she saw Jamie lying motionless on the hospital bed with countless life support devices around her, the actress burst into tears and held his hand tightly. A close source shared. Dakota couldn't stop crying. She kept calling Jamie's name and praying for him to wake up. They have been through so many glorious and difficult years together, and now she just hopes for a miracle to happen. The image of Dakota Johnson with her face blurred with tears, bowing her head beside the hospital bed has spread strongly on social media, making fans all over the world choke up and worry. All of Hollywood now has only one common prayer: Jamie Dornan, be strong. Heartbreak, a deep friendship, a heartbreaking moment, and the whole world is holding its breath waiting for good news from the recovery room. As soon as the news of the accident was confirmed, the hospital immediately rushed Jamie Dornan into emergency surgery. Doctors said the actor's condition was extremely serious. He suffered injuries to many parts of his body and had to undergo surgery that lasted more than 6 hours to save his life. Dakota Johnson did not leave the hospital for even a minute. She sat on a cold chair outside the operating room, her hands tightly holding the bracelet Jamie had given her on the first day of the 50 Shades of Grey premiere, like a silent prayer. People present at the scene said that Dakota cried her eyes out, whispering, "You have to wake up. I can't lose you, Jamie." Meanwhile, Jamie's family, wife Amelia Warner and children, also quickly arrived at the hospital. The atmosphere here became suffocating as everyone stood waiting behind the emergency room door. Every second and minute seemed endless. Even international reporters were present, but everyone kept absolutely silent at this tearful moment. The whole world was watching every development. The hashtag Pray for Jamie climbed to the top 1 global trend in just a few hours. Millions of fans sent their wishes from all over, hoping for a miracle to happen. And then, after many hours of waiting, a doctor came out with a tired but still hopeful look in his eyes. He simply said, "He has overcome the dangerous stage, but it still takes a long time to recover." Loudly crying, Dakota Johnson burst into tears again, this time tears of faith and hope. She held Amelia's hand, and the two hugged each other in a moment when everyone understood that true love and friendship can overcome the boundary between life and death. Sunrise, the moment the world waited for. Jamie Dornan opened his eyes after a terrifying nightmare. 3 days after the life-threatening surgery, the hospital was still shrouded in silence and anxiety. Dakota Johnson barely left the recovery room for a second. She slept on a small chair next to the hospital bed, holding Jamie's motionless hand as if letting go would make him disappear. And then, a miracle happened. Glowing star. On the morning of the 4th day, amidst the cold sounds of machinery, Jamie Dornan's eyes slowly opened. He looked around, his eyes hazy, then stopped at where Dakota was sitting. In that moment, her tears flowed without stopping. She rushed to hold his hand tightly, chokingly calling his name. "Jamie, you're awake? Thank God. Thank you for still being here." Jamie smiled softly, a weak smile but enough to melt the hearts of millions. He tried to speak, his voice hoarse after many days in a coma. "Baby, don't cry anymore. I've heard you calling me all this time." Face holding back tears, that sentence made Dakota burst into tears, hugging him in a trembling embrace. No more flashing lights, no more millions of eyes, just two people who had gone through so many ups and downs together, now holding hands tightly as if they never wanted to let go. Outside the hospital room, Amelia Warner, Jamie's wife, also shed tears when she saw her husband open his eyes. She walked in, gently placed her hand on Dakota's shoulder. No more distance or jealousy, only boundless gratitude because the man they both loved had returned from the dead. Growing heart that day, all of Hollywood seemed to explode. The news of Jamie Dornan waking up spread globally, with many stars, directors, and fans around the world sending their congratulations. The hashtag welcome back Jamie became the warmest welcome social media had ever seen. Rainbow in the hospital room, Dakota didn't take her eyes off Jamie for a second. She whispered in his ear, like a promise. "From now on, I will never leave you alone again. Never." Glowing star shocking decision, Jamie Dornan makes unexpected announcement after recovery. A few weeks after that life and death moment, Jamie Dornan has gradually recovered. He can walk, talk and even smile more, but his family and friends have realized one thing: Jamie is no longer the same person. Experiencing a moment facing death has made him look at life through completely different eyes. In his first press conference since the accident, an event that attracted thousands of reporters and was broadcast live around the world, Jamie Dornan suddenly made a decision that stunned Hollywood. In front of the camera and the bright flash, he slowly took the microphone, his voice low and determined. "The recent incident taught me a big lesson. Fame, money or awards mean nothing when you don't have the person you love by your side. So, I decided to leave Hollywood for a while to live for myself, and for the person my heart belongs to." Fearful face. The whole room was silent. The reporters thought they had misheard. Jamie, who was once one of the biggest movie icons of his generation, was pausing his career at its peak to prioritize love and personal life. Dakota Johnson, who was sitting in the front row, burst into tears as she listened to every word he said. When Jamie stepped down from the podium, he walked straight towards her, holding her hand amid hundreds of cameras. "We've wasted so many years because of fear. From now on, I don't want to waste another second. Will you agree to rewrite our lives from the beginning?" Face holding back tears. Dakota didn't respond with words. She just nodded in tears and hugged Jamie in front of the whole world. The scene immediately spread across social media, becoming the iconic moment of the year. A man giving up the spotlight just to keep his true love. Dizzy. The hashtag Jamie and Dakota new chapter exploded globally, with millions calling it the most beautiful Hollywood love story of the century. Even those who don't believe in love have to admit, there are stories that are not just fairy tales, but real-life miracles. Ring. The final chapter of the fairy tale, Jamie Dornan Dakota Johnson start a new life of their dreams. After the shocking announcement in Hollywood, Jamie Dornan officially withdrew from all major film projects, refusing contracts worth tens of millions of dollars to start a completely new journey. And his companion is none other than Dakota Johnson, the woman who held his hand through death and touched the most sacred thing, true love. Sparkles. A house, a new beginning. The couple left Los Angeles and moved to live in a small villa in the peaceful suburbs of Ireland, Jamie's hometown. The house is located in the middle of green fields, surrounded by lakes and forests. No paparazzi, no halo, just the sound of birds singing, afternoon sun and two hearts beating together. Dakota once shared with her best friend, "We've lived in the spotlight for too long. Now, we just want to live for each other, peacefully, simply." Sunrise. Love blooms after the storm. Both Jamie and Dakota spend most of their time traveling around Europe, cooking, writing books and doing charity projects. They appear together at small events, no longer as Hollywood stars, but as two people in love, and each time, their gazes towards each other are as warm as in the beginning. And then, the moment millions of fans have been waiting for finally arrives. Wedding. Sunset proposal. During a gorgeous sunset on the Donegal coast, Jamie gets down on one knee before Dakota. No spotlights, no cameras, just the sound of waves and a gentle sea breeze. "You are the reason I'm alive. The reason I want to live. Will you marry me?" Dakota couldn't hold back her tears. She nodded through sobs. And so, a whole new chapter began, not on a movie set, not in a fictional story, but in their own lives. Cherry blossom. The wedding of the century. A year later, Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson held an intimate but fairy tale-like wedding in a field of flowers in Ireland. There was no guest list of thousands, no lavish red carpet, just close friends, family, and a simple vow. For every moment of my life, I will hold your hand, through laughter and tears. Camera with flash images from the wedding went viral, inspiring millions to believe that true love can overcome tragedy, time, and glamour. Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson are more than just stars. They are living proof of a great love, starting with tears, growing in adversity and ending with the word, forever. Rose from a terrible accident to an immortal love story, their journey will forever be remembered as one of the most touching stories Hollywood has ever witnessed.